non-disabled people hate invisible disabilities. If you are constantly being told you're not disabled, you look fine, you don't look disabled, you're faking, try harder, and you're like, why are people treating me like this? By the end of this video, you're gonna understand why non-disabled people act like this and how to explain what they're doing to them in a way that lands. Hi, I'm Layla. I'm an autistic art activist with multiple invisible disabilities, and I raise awareness about high masking autism and invisible disability. The first thing that you need to understand about invisible disability stigma and fake claiming and things like that is that health is an invisible form of privilege. Being non-disabled is a form of privilege. Now, when you tell people that, they react badly. They're like, well, I'm not gonna feel guilty for being healthy. And it's a really weird misconception about pointing out somebody's privileges that they should feel guilty or that they're like doing something wrong. You don't doing something wrong by having happened to have been born or ended up not non-disabled. That's not the wrong thing. The wrong thing is using that privilege against disabled people. But the question is how to explain that to non-disabled people. So being non-disabled is a form of privilege. But the thing is that, like with most forms of privilege, people who have it aren't aware that they have some sort of unfair advantage. People think that their health and their well-being and their non-disabled status is like a form of earned privilege. It's something that they deserve. And this is really tied to beliefs about, like the survival of the fittest and things like that. People actually believe, whether consciously or not, that they are better than other people if they are healthy or if they are non-disabled. And so they actually think that the advantages that they get from being healthy or non-disabled are things that they deserve because they are better. And so the reason that non-disabled people react so badly to invisible disability is because things like accommodations and equality and inclusion are asking people with privilege, the non-disabled people, to share their unearned, unfair privilege with other people who are disabled. And because the non-disabled people believe that that privilege is their birthright, it's something that they deserve to have, they don't want to share it. And so they're like, well, we are only willing to share this privilege, our privilege, which they see as like belonging to them, with, the fewest people possible, the people who really need it, who really deserve it. And they position themselves as kind of the arbiters of disability. Like, we as non-disabled people are going to decide who deserves to have a share of our privilege. And we're only going to give it to those who need it the most. And it's based on this kind of hoarding of privilege. We don't want to give accommodations. We don't want to give things that make it accessible for you, because we recognize that doing that is being asked to share our privilege, and we don't want to. We want to keep our privilege to ourselves. And we justify this by believing that our privilege actually belongs to us. And so we're only willing to choose the people that we choose to give that privilege to. And when somebody says, well, I'm disabled, but they don't look disabled according to the judgments and the stereotypes in the non-disabled person's mind, the non-disabled person doesn't like it. First of all, they don't want to give the privilege away in the first place. They don't want to give it any more privilege than they have to give. But even more than that, what they don't want to do is lose control over who gets access to their privilege. They want to be able to decide. And if they can't decide based on their point of view who is disabled and who deserves to have access, then they can't be in control and limit who they share their privilege with. So they have to be able to be in control of deciding who's disabled, which means that who's disabled has to be decided from the point of view of non-disabled people, which means that they have to be able to see it or perceive it. So non-apparent disabilities, invisible disabilities rub non-disabled people the wrong way because they're like, wait a minute. Like, why should I give you my privilege? Why should I share my advantages with you when you're not proving to me that you really need it? And also, it eliminates the power dynamic that they rely on, right? So non-disabled people, unconsciously, a lot of the time, they will share their privilege with the most worthy, which means the most disabled or the most struggling, the most pathetic, so that non-disabled people can feel good about themselves, right? Oh, I'm so good. I'm sharing my privilege with these poor, pathetic, disabled people. If you don't fit the stereotype of the person that they picture as disabled, if you don't present in a way that allows them to feel better than you, if you look just like them, they don't get to have that experience of being the superior person who is helping the inferior person. And that's the only thing they're getting out of sharing their privilege, right? They don't want to share their privilege. They'll share their privilege if they get like an ego boost from it. Oh, I'm amazing. This poor, pathetic, disabled person needed some of my privilege, so I gave it to them generously, right? There's total lack of awareness of the privilege that a person has when they're non-disabled. And that privilege, again, isn't about like feeling guilty for being healthy or feeling guilty for not being disabled. It's about the fact that the world, the built world, the human social world has been designed for non-disabled people. And in order to get access, because of that privileged and power dynamic, disabled people have been forced to get access through non-disabled people. We have to ask and beg and plead and convince and make our case to non-disabled people to give us access to the world that non-disabled people have built for themselves that excludes disabled people. It's an entire system of privilege and power. So when somebody says, you don't look disabled, you look fine, you should just try harder, they're saying, this is my privilege. I don't want to share it with you. I want to maintain a power dynamic between me and disabled people. And the fact that your disability is not apparent is not allowing me to maintain that power dynamic. And I don't like it. So if you're autistic and your disability is non-apparent, then you're likely high masking autistic. And if you're high masking autistic, you might be sick of people telling you that you are fine, that you look fine, that you don't need support, when you are actually drowning in burnout and unmet support needs. And if that is you, I've created something for you. It's called the Chameleon Collective. It's an online community membership for high masking autistic adults who are ready to get out of burnout, surrounded by a community of people who actually understand the disability of high masking autism. If that sounds like something you need, there's a link in the description.